1, Reggie Harrison, 199-pound senior at center. Number 52, 205-pound Shane Wedd at right guard. Number 72, 195 pounds Nate Williams at right tackle. Number 70, Chris Enneking, 241 pounds. At split end, Ryan Goodwin, 150-pound senior. Number 45 at quarterback. Number 11, Jim Ward, 157 pounds. At fullback, number 24, Garrett Haddock, 172-pound junior. Number 24. And at tailback, at tailback, John Karr, 160 pounds, number 22. For the Derby Panthers, at wide receiver, number 25, 175 pounds, Corey Gurley. At left tackle, number 74, 217 pounds, Josh Ost. At left guard, number 63, D. Duncan, 240-pound senior. At center, number 50, 200 pounds, Doug Simpler. Right tackle, right guard, number 75, 235-pound Ross Draney. Right tackle, number 73, 235-pound Jason Reitmeyer. And at tight end, number 87, a senior, 205 pounds, Josh Riedel. At quarterback will be number 9, 172-pound senior Barry Galbraith. The fullback will be number 34, 185-pound senior Shelby Werman. And at tailback, number 35, 175-pound senior Tyson Malik. Terry, do you have some stats before we get set for the kickoff?
Yeah, we do. Both teams come in predominantly with a rushing ball game. Although Derby has a much stronger passing attack than what Lawrence has shown to this point, Derby has rushed for 2,252 yards and has passed for 1,302 yards for a total of 3,554 yards. Lawrence has rushed for just over 3,000 yards and has passed for almost 750 yards for a 780-yard total offensive attack. Lawrence, we need to watch their tailback, John Karr. He's got 1,281 yards rushing on 169 carries. One of their mainstays the last 3 ball games has been the fullback, Addig, who has gained 568 yards on 96 carries and has moved into the fullback spot just three games ago and has done real well. Quarterback Jim Ward has rushed 38 times for 77 yards and he's passed for 640 yards and 8 touchdowns. He likes to hit Carr coming out of the backfield. That's his main receiver, and that's a little easier pass than the downfield pass. Look for Derby to try to establish their running game with Malik. He's up to this point rushed for 1,247 yards on 149 carries, and Shelby Werman, who's really picked it up in the playoffs, has rushed for 610 yards on 74 carries. Barry Galbraith has, like we said, passed for 1,331 yards. He's 67 out of 124 and has thrown for 19 touchdowns.
Well, the Panthers have won the toss. They've deferred to the second half. Looks like Lawrence will be receiving defending the goal to the north. Some interesting things about the Derby defense as we get ready to start this game. They basically have manhandled all their opponents this year, Terry. If you look at some of the scores that Lawrence has had against, of course, Olathe North beat them 42-25. Shawnee Mission East, it was a 14-6 victory. Olathe South was a 14-7 victory. Shawnee Mission South was a 1-point victory in the regional championship, 28-27, and then of course last week against Olathe East, a close one, 14-10. In both of those state games, Lawrence pulled it out in the fourth quarter as they went into that quarter behind.
Well, that gives them some confidence knowing that they can come from behind, but at the same time, they really haven't manhandled anybody like the Lawrence team of last year that we saw. And they're a smaller team, but they're quicker, and they probably mirror Derby a little more as far as being smaller and quicker than the Derby team last year. Derby has a lot of confidence in their defense, and they're not afraid to give Lawrence the ball to start the ball game and put the defense on the field and try to play for field position right off the bat.
John Karr, the tailback, will go back deep to receive for Lawrence. Karr, not very big. He's a senior, 5'11", 160 pounds, but very quick and very durable, as are all the Lawrence backs. Also back there with him will be Thomas Daniels, number 25, and number 12, J.D. Laudebarger, who is also a quarterback. So 2 quarterbacks, or I guess 1 quarterback and 2 running backs back to receive. We're just about set Christopher tees the ball up, and we'll just shortly be underway with the 6A state championship game between Derby and Lawrence.
Well, this is what Derby's played for all season long, was get back to this ball game, and they're here. This is where they want to be, and I think they're ready for the ball game.
Karr fields it at his 5, comes straight up the middle, gets out across the 25 where he's brought down. So Lions will put it in play, 1st and 10 at their 26-yard line. Throughout the season and the playoffs, Terry, the Panther defense has been extremely strong against the run.
Well, they have been, and I'm sure that that's the first thing that Lawrence is going to check, is come out and try to establish their running game. They have made it this far using their run game, so they're going to go with their strengths.
Handoff straight ahead to number 22, Karr. He gets about 5 yards on the carry.
Lawrence will show a lot of different sets to Derby. They run some unbalanced line. They put a slot between the tackle and the tight end sometimes. So Derby sees some stuff that they haven't seen all season long facing the Lawrence offense.
We'll call it 2nd down 5, ball at the 31-yard line of the Lions. Hand off to Karr again straight ahead, and he's going to get out across close to the 35, maybe across the 35.
Well, Lawrence is simply running behind the slot man. They've got an extra man over on that side of the block, and they're going right behind their strength, following the fullback in the line on the right side. They're going to be short of a 1st down. It's going to bring up 3rd and about half a yard.
Lawrence goes in a slot left formation. Hand off to Karr again straight ahead, and he does have the 1st down. Gets about 3 on the carry. So Lawrence picks up the 1st down of the ball game on 3 successive dive plays to John Karr, the tailback.
Well, he's done the bulk of the load for him this year, and they just line up and go at you toe to toe. They're going to see if you can manhandle them or not, and if you can't, they're just going to try to push it right down your throat.
Lawrence stays in just a tight slot left. Now there's a pitch wide to Karr, and he's got the corner. Tripped up at the last minute by, looked like Tyson Malik.
He got outside real quick, and had Tyson not made the shoestring tackle, he might have gone all the way.
We'll give him about 8 on the carry. We'll call it 2nd down and 2. So far, Terry, Lawrence seems to be moving the ball very well on the ground.
Derby knew they'd come out and throw the run game right at him real quick, and so this has been no surprise.
Handoff to Karr again. This time he stood up just as he gets across the line of scrimmage. He might get across. They're going to mark it just across the 50-yard line.
He needed a yard for a 1st and 10, and he got just enough to make it 1st and 10 on Derby's side of the field now. Up to this point, Derby hadn't had much penetration from the defensive line, and that's the key against this running attack, was to get some penetration and try to mix up the backfield as much as you can.
Lawrence goes to an I formation now. Handoff to the fullback straight ahead. He's hit right at the line of scrimmage. He might get a yard on the carry, but he was hit just as soon as he got the handoff. That's Garrett Addick, who basically has come in about mid-season, I think, Terry, in replace of a couple of injured players.
He's been a mainstay for him during the playoffs, and hadn't carried the ball or done much up to that point, but has taken the load on his shoulders the last couple of ball games and done real well for the Lions.
Call it 2nd and a long 9. Lions in the eye again. Fumble on the play, picked up by the quarterback Ward. He looked like he was going to ride the fullback into the line, keep it, and maybe run the option. As he pulled it out, the ball popped loose, and fortunately, he took a Lawrence bounce right back into his hands.
Well, I hope that's not a preview of things to come, because that was about as fortunate bounce as you can. And that came right back up into his lap, and any bounce in any other direction, and Derby had a real good shot at the football as they were closing down on him.
Big defensive play for the Panthers here, Terry. 3rd down and long. We'll call it almost 10. obvious passing down, but again, the Lions have passed only when they have to. Now they send 2 wide receivers out. Ward drops back. He's looking downfield. He's being pressured. He's going to be brought down by a big Josh Riedel.
Josh came in from his right defensive end position, and the quarterback rolled to his left and wanted to set up out there and look in the left flats, and Riedel come in untouched and gave him absolutely no opportunity to set up. Throws him for about a 4 or 5 yard loss, and going to put the Lions in punting situation.
Slight wind here today at the stadium. Overcast, kind of a gloomy day. They're talking about rain. Lawrence will be punting into the wind. Malik stands back at his 15-yard line to receive the punt. Short punt. It's going to be held up. Going to hit right at the 30. Takes a Lawrence bounce. Going to be downed inside the 25. We'll see where they spot it. Looks like they're going to spot it with the nose of the ball right on the 25-yard line of Derby. So the Panthers offense will have a chance to put it in play. 1st and 10 at the 25.
Well, wasn't a real strong punt by the Lawrence punter, and Derby had absolutely no chance to return. And that's one of the situations where you want to just get away from it and let roll where it's going to and take over in whatever field position the ball gives you.
Panthers send Tyler Malik to the far side, Corey Gwirley to the near side. Werman and Malik are the setbacks. Galbraith drops straight back. He's going to throw on 1st down. Out in the flat, complete to Corey Gwirley. The ball pops loose, but I believe they're going to call it down. He was down, and then it was ripped out. So pickup of about 10 on the play. Should be depends upon where they spot it. It's going to be real close, Terry.
I think it's going to be just short. They may measure it. It's going to be real close, but it, from our vantage point, looks like it may be short. That was just a quick out in the flats, and that was early in the season one of the bread and butter plays that Derby really relied on heavily through the first 4 or 5 ball games, and then teams started tightening up on the corners and taking that pass away from them. And apparently they've seen something on the film that says we can go back to that, and excellent pass by Corey, and nice catch by Corey, and gaining close to 10 yards.
I believe it's a 1st down, and it is a 1st down for the Panthers. I'm sure the Lawrence secondary has watched the films, and coaches have talked to them, and they remember last year also, although they won the ball game, they've got a lot of respect for the Panther receivers and their ability to get downfield and find the open spots.
Well, the Derby's relied on a good balanced attack, and when the running game hadn't been able to go, Barry Galbraith has come in and thrown the ball real well, and so Lawrence knows that they're going to have to defense both the running and the passing game.
Panthers go with 2 tight ends on that play. Pitch back to Malik, comes to the near side. He's stops, tripped up. He tried to cut back inside, maybe picked up we'll see if he can, about a yard on the play. So it'll be 2nd down and 9.
If you remember from last year's state championship game, Lawrence defense really doesn't do a lot of penetration. They play a lateral defense, and they're real quick from sideline to sideline. You don't see them penetrate so much with their defensive line, but they do a lateral movement.
Galbraith runs the option. He's got the corner. Now he's outside, and it's a foot race. He's across the 50 down into Lion territory. He's going to be driven out inside the 30 at about the 27, 28-yard line. So Barry Galbraith keeps it on an option to the far side, fakes the pitch. A good block over there.
Barry picked up some good blocking downfield, and he had a lot of room to run, and his pitchman had a lot of run. He made the right decision, tucking up and running and getting the yardage he could, and surprising to see Derby get outside Lawrence that easily, as quick as defenses they've always had in the past.
About a 30-yard gain on the play. Panthers 1st and 10, Lawrence 28-yard line. Galbraith drops back, throws out in the flat, complete to Nate Phillips. He's going to be driven out about the 21 mark, just inside the 22-yard line, so a pickup of about 6 on the play.
Derby offense is coming out and definitely keeping Lawrence on their heels and not going to let them get in a situation where they're up playing 8 or 9 men up real tight on the line of scrimmage. They're going to keep them back off the ball and make them respect the passing game.
Panthers send Gorley to the far side. Malik comes to the near side. Hand off to the fullback, Werman, straight ahead, and he's hit right at the line of scrimmage. No gain on the play. Might even have lost a yard. Bring up third down. We'll call it a long 4.
Just a quick fullback dive over the guard, and Lawrence defensive line was on a stunt and picked the right hole to set into that time.
Worley goes to the far side. Nate Phillips comes to the near side. Panthers break the eye. Now they put Werman back in the fullback slot. Galbraith throws out in the flat, intended for Corey Gorley, and Corey just couldn't bring it down, so he had the first down.
It looked like a pretty good pass, and Corey had enough yards to pick up the first down. It was just couldn't find the handle on the football. Going to put Derby in a fourth and 3 situation, and looks like they're going to go for it.
Tyler Malik comes in, replacing Nate Phillips as a wideout. He'll go to the far side. Gorley comes to the near side. 4th and 4. This will be the first big play of the ball game. Panthers going for it inside the 25-yard line of Lawrence. Pass is complete out in the right flat to Tyler Malik, I believe. Yes, and that's good enough for a first down. So nice catch by Tyler.
Well, the Derby offense definitely feels like the corners are playing real soft on them, and they're going to be content with 4, 5, 6 yards on that pass play till they tighten the defense up out there, and when they do, look for that pump and go that Derby likes to throw.
It was a nice pass by Barry also, Terry. You put it to the outside and kind of low. Tyler had to go down and get it, but it wasn't a terribly difficult pass, but it was where the Lawrence defender couldn't get at it. Galbraith keeps it, cuts back inside to the right side, still on his feet inside the 10. Going to be hit at about the 9-yard line.
Right side of the offensive line doing a good job of sealing down and letting Barry get outside and find the seam between the tackle and the defensive end. And he gets out there. He's got some running room, and Derby will be real content to pick 6, 7 yards up a whack on that option play.
We'll call it 2nd and 4. Ball, the nose of the ball sitting right on the Lions' 10-yard line. So very good sustained drive by the Panthers here. Panthers with 2 wideouts. I formation. Galbraith keeps it on the option. Awful good penetration by the left, right side of that Lawrence line, and he's going to be thrown for maybe a yard loss, maybe 2 yards.
That was good penetration, and that was the right decision by Barry to eat the ball. A lot of times you see somebody try to pitch too quick out there and end up making a bad pitch, and down in this territory, Derby wants to make sure they come away with some points down here on this first offensive possession.
We'll call it 3rd and a long 5 now. Ball on about the 12-yard line of Lawrence, right in the center of the field. Werman's the lone setback now. They put Malik in the, Jared Foster's in the ball game in the slot position. Pass.
Oh, I tell you what, there had to be an offensive.
Certainly
had to be an offensive interference out there. They were holding Corey, or defensive interference. They were holding Corey Gorley and not letting him run his pattern out there, and they can't do that. And you can tell from the sideline the coaches are upset with no call on that.
Well, the official was right there looking at him. I don't know whether they were just screened off by the defense or what, but it sure looked like it was a timing pattern where Corey was going to run that slant into the goal or into the post there, and looked like 2 defenders just had a hard time getting through them. Panthers are going to go for a field goal. Chris DeVore is going to make the attempt. They're going to spot it at the 19, so we'll call it a 29-yard attempt. Ball's in the center of the field. Galbraith spots it down. Kick is up, and it is no good. Wide left. Held the crowd for a minute. I think everybody kind of thought it was good, Terry.
Well, it looked good, and everybody was waiting to see what the official was going to call. And it's tough. It's a good offensive drive by the Panthers to get down in that territory and come away without any points. But they know the offense can move the football, and the offensive calls they're using was setting up some stuff for subsequent offensive possessions.
Lawrence will put it in play on the 20-yard line. The ball comes out to the 20 after the missed field goal. Ward, Attic, and Karr in the backfield. Handoff straight ahead. Pitch out. Good fake into the line that time by Ward to the fullback attic. He pitched to Karr on the right side, and he's going to pick up about 5 or 6 yards on that carry.
He did a good job of riding the fullback in and sucking the defensive end down and then pitching to the outside. And fortunately, Derby's got some speed in that secondary. It had been 6 points for Lawrence.
Got an official timeout on the field while I think Karr ties his shoe. He's second down. We'll call it 4. Ball on the 26-yard line of Lawrence. Left tackle for Lawrence is just huge at 290 pounds, and they're running right at him, and Karr's just creamed. Tremendous penetration by the Derby, right side of that Derby line, Terry.
Well, Robbins at his right defensive end position came back and just knocked the flanker back into the play. He had absolutely no forward momentum at all, and he knocked him back into the quarterback trying to make the exchange with Karr, the tailback, and he just mixed the play up totally for the offensive backfield. Drives him back. That's going to bring up a 3rd and 9 for
yeah,
Lawrence.
A loss of about 5 on the play. Big defensive stand here again for the Panthers. 3rd and long. Lawrence sends a wide receiver to the far side. Hand off to the tailback, Karr around the right side. He's got some running room. He's going to be picked up and stuck hard. Nate Phillips just picked him up and drove him back, so they're not going to get the first down, but Nate was the last one there.
I think Nate used one of his wrestling moves that time. He just picked him up and threw him on the mat, if you will, and said this is as far as you go, and it's going to bring up 4th and 3, and again going to put Lawrence in a punting situation.
Tyler Malik goes back, or Tyson Malik back standing on his own 40-yard line to receive the punt. Last time wasn't too good a punt, although it took a good Derby bounce. This one isn't going to go very far either. Hits inside the 50. Now it takes a Lawrence bounce, still rolling down across the 40 to the 35. Inside the 35 for a punt that hit on the Lawrence side of the 50. He's got about a 20-yard roll out of it. So.
Well, he ended up with a pretty good punt. And one thing Derby has to be aware of is they've got wide people blocking Lawrence's wide people coming down the field, and when you've got somebody that doesn't punt any better than that, those people need to be aware of where the ball is so it doesn't hit them in the back or in the leg and become a live ball.
We got 14 seconds to go in the first quarter with the score 0-0, and probably the quarter will expire before the Panthers run a play. So far, Panthers have been able to move the ball fairly well, Terry, and defensively they've stopped the Lions on. I think they've got 1 first down.
They might have picked up a couple first downs on that first drive, Ron, but after Lawrence moved the ball about 30 yards, the Derby defense kind of settled down and started getting some penetration and being a little more aggressive on the front line, and has made life difficult for Lawrence on the end of the first possession and the second possession.
Derby band cranks up the fight song, and a very nice crowd on hand from Derby today. A lot of people came up last night. I know I saw them at the hotel, and a lot of them got up early this morning and drove up on as we said, a very dismal day. But so far, the rain's held off, and it's a little chilly, but not real cold.
Well, it's a good football day. The players don't mind it being a little cool, as if it's not just real freezing cold, and as long as it stays dry, I think nobody can complain too much about the weather.
Now we've got an official timeout on the field. I believe that's a TV timeout.
This game's been telecast locally, and I think in the Kansas City area on cable TV, and so we're going to be dealing with TV timeouts throughout the day. This ball game is a this ball game is a rematch of the 6A championship game last year, played in Manhattan between Lawrence and Derby, and then the 5A game following this ball game run is also a rematch with Salina Central and Liberal tying horns again. Last year they played the game prior to our ball game, and this year they flip-flop them, and 5A is the second ball game. It's going to be a big game also.
We're ready to start the second quarter. No score in the ball game. Panthers have the ball, 1st and 10 at their own 31-yard line. 2 wideouts for the Panthers. Werman's the lone setback for the Panthers. Galbraith's going to throw. He throws deep. He's got Aaron Severin deep, and Aaron beat his man, and he's going to go all the way, and nobody's going to catch him, Terry.
Catch him.
That's a state sprint champion, and Aaron just kept going. Barry aired it out into the wind. A nice pass, hit him in full stride, and it's 6 points Derby.
That's one of those plays where we talked about Derby setting the play up based on their series that they had the ball on the last series. You run stuff short, and when you throw it short consistently, the offensive people or the defensive secondary has to tighten up and respect the short game a little bit more, and then you put somebody in with Aaron Severin's speed, and it's off to the foot races, and it's not a question of whether or not he can get behind him. The question is whether he and Barry can connect.
I just watched the replay, Terry, and it almost looked like the Lawrence defender gave up on it, didn't think he could throw the ball that far, or there wasn't anybody back there, because he just broke away at the last minute and had a full probably 5 yards on the defender when he caught the ball in full stride. And you just couldn't ask for a more pretty pass than that.
Boy, it was just perfect. 11:52 to go in the second quarter, and Derby's taking a 7-0 lead in the 6A state championship ball game.
We'll give Barry and Aaron 70 yards on that play, and first that's certainly a nice way to start the second quarter.
Well, one thing that we'll do there again, that's going to make the short passing game go a little bit more, because now they've seen some speed, and one thing the defensive secondary doesn't want to do is let somebody get behind them, and so it may loosen them up on the corners a little bit, and look for Derby to go back and start attacking the flats again when they get the football back.
Right now, the passing game for the Panthers seems to be working. We've got unofficially Barry Galbraith with 4 out of 5 completions, 1 touchdown, and 91 yards passing first quarter.
Obviously, the Derby coaching staff saw something and felt like they could throw against them coming into the ball game, and up to this point, Derby's been very successful with it.
Karr's back deep to receive for the Lions. He's going to stand on his own goal line. DeVore is set to kick off for the Panthers. Chris gets a high kick, fielded at the 7. Karr has it at the 7, comes straight up the middle. He's met by 3 or 4 Panthers. He'll get out across the 25 to about the 26 where he's brought down. And the Lawrence Lions will put it in play there, 1st and 10.
Tell you what, Ron, the wind has been kind of funny. It blows for a while and then just totally dies down. On that kick, the wind had died down, and now it's starting to pick back up a little bit. And a minute earlier on Barry's pass, it was blowing pretty good into his face. So wind may or may not be a factor today, depending on what it's doing when a particular play is called.
Ward pitches back to number 44, breaks 1 tackle, breaks another tackle, gets across the 30 out to about the 33. 44's JoJo Polk, and he's the back that started the season for him, was injured, has about 280 yards on 10 carries, and this is the first action he's seen since the start of the season, Terry.
He's got some real quick feet and some good moves, and makes it real difficult in the open field to get a good hit on him, get a hand on him.
Well, this is the first action he's seen in quite some time. He was their star tailback early in the year and got injured and hasn't played since. Lions in an I formation now. Karr throws out in the flat complete or Ward throws to Karr complete. It should be close to a first down. Depends upon where you drive him out of bounds at.
I think they're going to mark it about the 37, which would be enough for a first down.
Should be about a yard plenty for a first down. So Again, the passing attack, when they use it, the favorite receiver, as you said earlier, Terry, is John Karr.
Well, I'm sure that's something that Derby's going to be keying on when they move him out of the backfield and put him out in the flats. He's probably going to see some double coverage out there.
Now Polk comes to the near side as a wide receiver. Lions stay in the eye. Ward options, hands off deep to Karr, and he's hitting the backfield, but manages to surge forward for a couple. Very deep handoff on that traditional kind of the student body right eye handoff.
Well, it almost looked like they tried to make Derby think pass with kind of a sprint out drop by the quarterback, and then the delayed handoff kind of deep in the backfield. Good penetration by the defensive line. Going to put Lawrence in a 2nd and 7 situation.
Little misdirection, handoff to Polk, and he's still on his feet. He runs hard, gets his feet up. He gets about 2 more yards on the carry. He's not a big back either, Terry, at 5'8" and 155 pounds, so none of the backs in that backfield are big like last year's team when they had big Jason Thorne at a 235-pound fullback who was about 1,300 yards, now plays linebacker for KU.
They don't have a lot of size in their backfield, but they do have some quickness and quick feet, and that can be just as devastating.
Big 3rd down for the Panthers here, 3rd and 5. Little misdirection to Karr. He's driving forward. I don't believe he got it. Depends upon where they're going to spot it now.
Well, if they give him the roll off a pile, which they probably will, he's going to be real close to 1st down. Good second effort by Karr on that carry.
Panthers hit him about 2 yards short. I don't believe he's got it. Well,
yeah, I think he does.
I think he does, Terry. If the yard line or the hash marks are even with the sideline, then he's going to have it by about 1 inch. They're going to bring the chains in. From where I'm standing, it looks like he just barely has it. As I say, the Panthers hit him on about the 45, which was been 2 yards short, but he twisted and turned, and that's what makes these running backs good for Lawrence. They're not big, but they're so quick, and they're almost greasy.
He had a pretty good hole to run through on the left side of the line, and he's going to be about 2 inches short. So it's going to be decision time for Lawrence here.
Gutsy call for Coach Purdy here this early in the ball game, but it looks like he's going to leave his quarterback in and go for it. And of course, at this level, they need about 6 inches.
It's going to be
3rd.
Well, one marker says
down.
Okay, 4th down.
Yeah, there was some confusion. It is 4th down. Lawrence is going to go for it, and I'm sure they'll probably just give it to Karr, or the quarterback might keep it and go straight ahead on a quick count. He hands off to Karr, and penetration there. Not sure who it is. Robbins hit him in the backfield, but slipped loose and picked up the 1st down.
My penetration that time was 45 or 46. David Russell or John Dillard. I couldn't get the number up here in the backfield. Derby's doing a good job against penetration, but they've got to make some contact when they do. You give the Lawrence backfield 2 or 3 steps, and they get their speed up and their quickness, and it's going to be hard to stop them.
1st and 10, ball just across the 50-yard line into Panther territory for the Lawrence Lions. 8:20 to go in the 1st half. Panthers on top, 7-0. Lawrence on the move. High formation for the Lions. Karr rolls right, throws out in the flat, intended for 24 Attic, or Ward's pass that is, and it's incomplete. A little high, but he could have probably brought it down.
He just rolled left. He was wanting to throw deep. Pretty good coverage on the deep man by Tyson Malik. It looked to me like the flanker lineup this side got maybe a half step quick start, but there's no flag on the penalty or on the play, so it's going to bring up 2nd and 10 for the Lions.
I think I saw that too, Terry, and it almost looked like the official was running with him. So maybe he thought, well, we can't both be offsides. 2nd and 10 for Lawrence. They go with the wide receiver to the near side, slot to the right, handoff straight ahead to the fullback, and he drives forward, 170-pound guy, and boy, just drives like he's about 220 pounds on that play.
Derby had held him and with incomplete pass and bring up second long, and you hate to give up 8 yards to the fullback or 7 yards to the fullback on a dive when you've held him and put him in a long situation. He'd like to force Lawrence into a throwing situation, but Lawrence obviously feels like their offense is strong enough that they're in 4-down territory now.
3rd and 3 for the Lions. Handoff straight ahead. He's not going to pick up the first down. I believe it was to Karr, number 22. They're going to mark it about a half a yard to a yard short of the 40, and they needed to get to almost the 41, about the 40 and a half, or the 39 and a half of Derby. So it'll be 4th down in a good yard.
Now Derby's got to sit real tight and not jump off sides, but at the same time they've got to be ready to get off on the movement of the ball and get some penetration.
Lawrence with handoff to Karr. I don't think he made it, Terry. Depends upon where they spot it. He's going to spot it right at the 40. He's going to be short.
He's going to spot on the line, and then Derby's going to take over.
It's going to be short. 1st down, Panthers. So excellent defensive stand by the right side of that Panther defensive line, Terry.
Well, that's what we talked about, getting some penetration and hitting him in the backfield, because once you hit him, he's going to get a yard or two, so you can't hit him at the line of scrimmage and hold him for no gain. You've got to make some contact in the backfield, and Derby got through and was able to do that on a key 4th down.
One thing that impresses me about the Lawrence backs, Terry, is they have both hands wrapped about as tight around that ball as you can see when they're running through there, and I think that gives them a little added ability to spin and twist. Panthers have it 1st and 10 on their own 40 now. 2 wideouts for the Panthers. They stay in the eye. Hand off to Malik straight ahead. He breaks a couple of tackles, gets out close to the 45. Now there's a penalty flag, and it's got to be against, I would think, a Lawrence player, because there was only 3. There wasn't any Derby players there except Malik, and he was on the ground.
Face mask.
Face mask penalty against the Panthers will move it down 15 more, so puts it across the 50 down into Lion territory at their 41.
That's a quick 20 yards, 5 yards on the carry and 15 yards on the penalty, and moves them over into Lions territory.
Nate Phillips goes to the far side. Corey Gurley comes to the near side. Panthers stay in the eye. Galbraith keeps the ball, tries to get outside 51. Reggie Harrison tripped him up. He's a 199-pound nose tackle.
It was fortunate that he slid out as quick as he did, because Barry had made the corner and they had 2-on-1, and Barry was just waiting for the defensive cornerback to commit and either take the pitch man away or take him, and then he'd pitch the ball off. And fortunately, he slid in and got Barry at the ankles.
2nd and 11 for the Panthers. Galbraith drops straight back, looks out in the flat. It's intended for Tyler Malik, and Tyler had it, was going to run without it, I guess, before he got it, so incomplete. Again, the Derby receivers continue to be open on those little quick out patterns. Going to bring up 3rd down and 11 for the Panthers.
We've just got the official first quarter stats are on, and we'll run down real quick. Derby had 3 first downs. They had 5 rushes for 41 yards and 22 yards passing, 5 for 3. Their total offense was 10 plays and 63 yards. Lawrence had 1 first down. There were 11 rushes for 27 yards and no passes completed.
Galbraith looks out in the flat, complete. Well, pickup, I think it's Corey Gurley. Inside the 30 at about the 29, so it should be a 1st down.
That's what we talked about them starting to play soft on the corners again once they get beat deep, and they're lining up 10 to 12 yards off the wide man, and that's too soft. As well as Barry's throwing the football today, he can make them pay until they come back up and start to play tight again.
Panthers send Tyler Malik to the near side. Gurley's to the far side. Handoff straight ahead to Werman on the trap, and he breaks through, gets down close to the 20, about the 21, where he's going to be brought down short of the first down by about 2 yards. So nice run by Shelby Werman, the fullback.
That little trap play goes over D. Simpler and Ross Graney and D. Duncan over the center and the guards, and he had absolutely nobody touch him until he was 5 or 6 yards down the field. Excellent blocking by the middle of the offensive line for the Panthers.
We'll call it second down 2. Ball on about the 21-yard line of Lawrence. Nate Phillips to the near side. Gurley stays to the far side as the wideouts. Panthers break the eye. Galbraith drops back, fakes once. Now he's going to be hit. Barry pumped once, and he didn't see him coming, and he got hit pretty hard there by 2 or 3 Lawrence guys coming up the middle, and that's not what we wanted to see on second and short.
Well, they felt like they'd set up that pump and go, and then hit the flat, and we're looking to send Corey deep in the corner, and excellent defensive coverage by the secondary for the Lions, and Barry was looking left and didn't see anybody coming from his right side.
Well, also, yeah, you're good penetration by the left side of that line. 3rd and 9. Galbraith's going to drop straight back. He looks out, throws deep to Gurley, just off his fingertips. Looked like Corey might have stopped for a second or slowed down for a second to look back, and he had his defender beat, and it would have been 6 points. But off his fingertips is going to bring up 4th down and about 9 for the Panthers.
Well, that was, again, a very well-thrown ball thrown into the wind, and Corey just couldn't quite reach out far enough, and just off his fingertips. Real close to being a big play for the Panthers.
Aaron Severin comes in now at a wide receiver for the Panthers. Gurley will stay in. Severin's going to come to the near side. Gurley goes to the far side. 4th and 9 for the Panthers. Ball on the 27-yard line of Lawrence. Now we're going to have a delay of game penalty, I think, or not sure what. No flag, so timeout was called by Derby. So evidently Barry didn't like what he saw when he came up the line, wants to talk it over and take him back to the huddle.
Well, with 3:23 to go in the half, and you still got all 3 timeouts left, on a 4th down situation, you have to feel comfortable and make sure that you like what's called, and there's no reason to save the timeouts. Barry did the right job, the right thing, calling timeout, and go over and talk it over with the coaches and discuss what they want called. This game has played this billing 2 tough defenses, both very stingy as far as what they're going to give up, and Derby fortunately has come up with a couple big plays, a pass play by Barry, and also a rushing play by Barry, which took it down into deep into Lawrence territory in the first quarter, and unfortunately we came out without any points, but both defenses are very aggressive and very stingy when it comes up to giving up yards.
Big 4th down play for the Panthers. Obvious passing down. Panthers with 2 wideouts. They put Malik in the slot to the right. Werman stays as the lone setback for the Panthers. Galbraith drops straight back to throw. Looks downfield. Throws across the middle to Gurley. Pass is broken up at the last minute. And again, I think he was going to Barry or to Corey all the way on that. Looked like Foster might have been open on the right side, Terry, but only so much time to look at the receivers downfield. Incomplete, and Lawrence will take over.
Well, it looked like Corey had him a step, and it was just a good defensive play by the defensive secondary for the Lions, coming in right at the last second and break it up. There again, Derby puts a good offensive drive together, and with 3:18 to go in the first half, they turned the ball over to Lions on downs at the Lions' own 27-yard line.
Lawrence puts the wide receiver to the near side. That's Karr. Long pass thrown downfield. It's caught. Glazer fell down, going up fighting for the ball. Karr maintained his balance, and again, the long pass by Lawrence against Derby is successful.
Well, that was pretty good defensive coverage by Troy. He was right in the man's face. He goes up, gives away some height to Karr, who comes in about 6 foot, and Karr just kind of outmuscled him. And I think Derby's probably fortunate that Karr couldn't keep his feet, because there wasn't anybody between him and the goal line.
1st and 10, ball at the 39-yard line. Pitch back to JoJo Polk, and he's going to be hit hard. Malik comes in after he was initially tripped up by Tyler Malik, and Tyson come in and leveled him after he gains about 2 yards.
Jeff Relander grabbed him in the backfield and had him by the shirt, and Malik comes in to make the stick on him. 49, Aaron Robbins limps off the field for the Panthers, one of their defensive ends.
That's a key defensive position for the Panthers too, Terry. 2nd and 8. Ward looks deep again, throws downfield. He's got Karr wide open inside the 25-yard line. Hits him right on the numbers. 2 Derby defenders there, and unable to stop that pass play. He's the only receiver in the pattern too.
Well, that's one thing Derby has to adjust to. Like we talked at the start of the ball game, he is their #1 receiver, and when you take him out of the backfield and put him out in a wide out position, chances are they're going to throw to him. Derby starts needing to double team.
Inside 2 minutes to go. Handoff to the fullback, Attic. He's going to probably pick up 3 on the carry. I think you're right, Terry. When they put Karr out in a flanker position, he's not out there most of the time, not as a decoy. He's got speed. He's obviously got good hands, and he is their #1 receiver.
Well, you don't take your #1 tailback out of the backfield for no reason.
Handoff to the tailback Polk, JoJo Polk. He's hitting the backfield. He might get a yard on the carry. A little misdirection play there.
Lawrence takes a timeout with 1:18 to go in the ball game. They're going to have 3rd and long at Derby 20-yard line. This is the deepest penetration that Lawrence has had of the ball game so far, down to the Derby 20-yard line. So I'm sure with 1:18 to go in the ball game, or in the first half, they'd like to get some points on the board, pick up some momentum at halftime.
So far, the first half, the Panthers actually have had three good scoring opportunities. They managed to capitalize on one of them, and unfortunately came away with no points on the other 2 times. A little long for a field goal this last attempt, and then, of course, DeVore's field goal went a little wide to the left earlier in the first quarter.
This is the kind of game you expect to see at a state championship game around. There hadn't been many penalties and no turnovers up to this point. So, both teams playing pretty much error-free football.
A minute 18 to go in the first half. Derby on top, 7-0. Lawrence has the ball, 3rd and 7 at the Derby 20-yard line. So very, very big 3rd down play here for the Panthers. Lawrence puts 2 wide receivers out. They keep Karr in the backfield this time. Ward drops back. Now he rolls right. He's being pressured by Riedel. Now he's going to throw the ball. It's got to be a grounding. There was a receiver over there, but it was obviously a grounding the way he threw the ball. You could tell. But the receiver was in the vicinity, and they're not going to call it down. That's too bad, Terry, because there was no question in my mind anyway that was an intentional grounding.
He was just throwing it to get rid of it, and everybody in the stands knew it except the guy in black and white. It's going to bring up a 4th down, a big 4th down for the Lions with a minute and 9 seconds to go in the half.
Big pressure that time by Josh Riedel, the right defensive end, as he came across, and Ward rolled out to the right. Riedel just came right after him, and he's the one that threw him for a loss earlier in the ball game. Karr was open out there in the flat, but I don't think Karr even had any idea he was going to throw to him. He was over there more for a kind of a pass protection, I think, as he was along about the line of scrimmage. And Ward just rifled the ball into the ground. in, so that's a good sign, Terry.
Aaron's done a good job.
Linebacker.
A good job. He plays defensive end. He flip flops with Josh Riedel, and they wait to see which way is strong or weak side. Aaron's just a junior, and will be back for one more year of Panther football next year.
4th and 7. They send Karr wide to the far side of the field. Ward rolls right. He looks. He's going to throw it to him. It's short. It's going to bounce off the turf. It looked like might have been picked up by one of the Derby players. I'm not sure. I didn't get the number on that. But
Malik almost picked it up off the turf. But the key to that play was Robbins coming in from his defensive end position and not giving Ward time to set up. I tell you what, Ron, when they come out and roll out, that quarterback doesn't look for anybody except Karr when he comes out to pass the football, and his eyes never left him. Karr was lined up as a split on the right, and when he came out looking for him, and everybody else might as well go and stand on the sideline because he wasn't going to pick anybody else up.
Minute 5 to go in the half. Panthers are just going to run it straight ahead to Werman. He breaks a couple of tackles, gets still on his feet, gets out close to the 30-yard line before he's brought down. So just the fullback straight ahead for the Panthers. Going to pick up about, see where they mark it. Might be close to a first down. They're going to measure it, I think.
Well, I tell you, with 46 seconds to go in the half, and Derby either second and short or first and 10 at their own 30-yard line, I'd sure like to see Aaron Severin come in one more time and see if they've got anybody, found anybody can stay with him with his speed. Aaron's has made the state track meet in 100 and 200 meters, and he has sprinter speed that most teams haven't had to face.
Well, the interesting thing so far is on all of those longer pass plays, the Derby receivers have had their man beat. They've been behind them, and certainly the touchdown, Aaron had about 5 yards on his man. I see Aaron checks in at a wideout now, goes to the far side of the field for Derby. Gorley comes to the near side. Panthers break the eye. Second down, less than an inch. Galbraith drops straight back, pressured. He's going to run out of the pocket. He'll get the first down, still on his feet, but tripped up. Clock should stop. Clock's, well, it didn't stop. Now it's down to 20 seconds, so.
I think Derby's still got 2 timeouts left. If I'm right, Ron, if they had, they need to use them. They're getting close to the 40-yard line, and this is about where the first touchdown pass went. Was about this point on the field.
This will be the last play of the game, or the half. 10 seconds to go. Panthers 2 wideouts. Handoff straight ahead to Werman, and he goes nowhere. So Panthers content to go to the locker room and with a 7-0 lead. Last year this time they went into the locker room with a 23-0 lead, and we were kind of confident that Lawrence remembered that and it wasn't going to happen again. Got an injury down on the field for Lawrence. 51 for Lawrence, and that's a key defensive player for them. That's Reggie Harrison, who is an awful good penetrating into that Derby backfield today.
He's a down lineman, and he's got a lot of quickness, and is giving Derby fits the first half. So it'd be interesting to see if they can go in at halftime and get him back ready to play the second half.
Well, Terry, as we look back on the statistics from the first half, again, another really a defensive ball game so far. The Panthers have got a few more yards than the Lions do, but one of the things that I think we knew coming into this ball game, we'd probably see Lawrence, not a passing team. So far, their biggest threat has been the pass.
Well, they didn't really get much in the offense going as far as anything sustained until their last drive when they got down to the 20-yard line of Derby. First half statistics, of course, Derby leads 7-0 at halftime. First downs, Derby has 6, Lawrence has 5. Derby has 12 rushes for 64 yards. Lawrence has 22 rushes for 63 yards. Passing yardage, Derby has 102 yards passing. Lawrence has 42. Berry was 5 for 10, no interceptions. Ward for Lawrence was 3 for 6 with no interceptions. Total offensive plays, Derby's ran 22 for 166 yards, and Lawrence's ran 28 for 105 yards. Derby is yet to punt. Lawrence has the official statistics that they give us said that they've punted once, but I know of 2 punts at least, Ron, so the official statistics are unofficial at this point. Individual leaders, leading rusher for Derby, and kind of a surprise is Barry Galbraith with 6 attempts for 36 yards. He's picked his yards up on options and quarterback keepers when they ran the option, and he stuck the ball and ran, and of course had one big gain in the first quarter. Malik has 2 attempts for 6 yards, and Wehrman has 4 carries for 18 yards. Receiving, Gorley has caught 2 for 22 yards. Phillips 1 for 6. Severin 1 for 68, and Tyler Malik 1 for 6 yards. Rushing for Lawrence, Karr has 11 attempts for 39 yards. Addig 6 for 13 yards, and Polk 4 for 11 yards. Pass receiving, and it's no surprise, Lawrence has completed 3 passes, all 3 of them to Karr for 42 yards. Derby, I'm sure at halftime talked a little bit about it, how they're going to defend Karr when he's moved out of the backfield out to a receiver position, and the importance of maybe double teaming him and taking him out of the ball game and making them look for somebody else.
Well, I think defensively, the second half, the Panthers obviously have to maintain their awareness of the run and continue to stuff that play. The thing that impresses me so far in the first half about the running backs, particularly Karr, but also JoJo Polk when he finally got in the ball game, and of course Garen Addick, the fullback, is they tuck the ball away tight. They twist and turn, and their legs are churning all the time, and that's probably why they get the yardage they do, because they're not big backs. Comparatively, if you look at last week against Dodge City, and Brian Goolsby at 235 pounds was just a big load to bring down, and it was difficult for one tackler to bring him down. But the same thing appears to be true here today. With these little backs running as hard as they are, it's just as hard to bring them down.
Well, I think if you look back over the first half, I don't know of one real good stick that Derby's been able to put on a tailback on an offensive play. They've made a good stick on a kickoff, but they're not getting good clean shots, and that's because they are small and quick, and it's about all you can do to get an arm on them.
Lawrence, it looked like tried. I don't think it was an onside kick, but they certainly didn't try to kick it deep. It was obviously an attempt to keep the ball short and on the ground, and fallen on by Aaron Robbins, I believe.
Well, I think that the yard marker guy had already had his yard marker set at the 32-yard line, so they thought they'd just kick it there, and then that way he wouldn't have to move. It caught everybody by surprise. Aaron did the right thing, just falling on it, not trying to pick it up and run with it.
Panthers on top, 7-0. We start the second half. They have it at their own 32-yard line. Galbraith on the key, pitches to Malik. He's got the corner, breaks a couple of tackles, going to have the first down, still on his feet, inside across the 50. Excellent run by Tyson Malik on the option.
Excellent run by Tyson Malik, and an excellent block out front by Shelby Wehrman. Took his man clear to the outside and pushed him to the sideline, and he's hurt, and that's Karr. That's 22, their tailback, and that would be a big loss for them if he can't come back in the ballgame. I think that's the first time that Barry's been able to get the ball out to Malik on the pitch on the option, and a big gain for Derby, and Derby's obviously made some adjustments with their offense and are going to try to get the ball in Malik's hands a little bit more. He had 2 carries the first half, and that's just not enough time, or not enough carries for somebody his caliber and hit with his talent.
Well, Karr's coming off the field on his own power, so I'm sure he'll be back. He's certainly played against some tough teams this year, and I'm sure he's taken some hits, and he seems to be a pretty durable player, but went down hard over there that time. And Panthers will have it. About a 25-yard pickup by Tyson on that play. So they're into Lawrence territory. Ball at the 47-yard line of the Lions. 1st and 10 Panthers. Panthers send Gurley to the far side. They have Severin or Tyler Malik to the near side. Galbraith drops straight back. He's got some time. Now he's pressured and he's going to go down, and had excellent coverage. 2 receivers is all the Panthers had out, and they were both real deep.
Well, they're double teaming the wide people, and Derby has to adjust to that. They completely opened up the middle of the field. Everybody went deep with the 2 receivers, and Derby's going to have to start either sending a tailback out in the flats or a reel over the middle, because there's absolutely nobody underneath for coverage.
Loss of about 5 on the play. 2nd and 15. This has been a very penalty-free game so far, Terry. 3 wide receivers for the Panthers now. Handoff to Werman, the fullback, and he's going to be hitting the backfield, breaks a tackle. Going to get past the back to the line of scrimmage to probably pick up 2-3 on the carry. So the Panthers electing to show pass and come with the fullback back up the middle.
Good second and third effort by Werman to get back close to the original line of scrimmage. He gains about 4 yards, and looked like he was going to be stopped for a yard loss or no gain, and he fought off a couple tackles and got 3 or 4 yards on the carry.
3rd and we'll call it 11 for the Panthers. Tyler Malik goes to the far side. Corey Gurley comes to the near side. They put Foster in the slot to the left. Galbraith drops back. He's got some time. Now he's pressured. He's going to be brought down again. Just heavy penetration. The Lions were coming on that play, and Barry never had a chance to even get back and set up.
Well, they were blitzing everybody in tight and covering double on the wide people, and offensive line's got to do a better job of picking that up and buying some time for Barry.
Panthers will have to punt it away for the first time of the ball game. Shelby Werman does the punting for the Panthers. He'll stand back inside his own 35. Karr back deep to receive. It's a good snap. Werman gets off a fairly good punt. Fumbled. I believe it's going to be recovered, though. Number 25, Thomas Daniels for the Lions, fumbled the punt. Now there's a flag down.
Well, I don't know what the flag was. They act like it's against Derby, but I don't know what they'd be calling.
Unsportsmanlike conduct against the Panthers. I'm not sure what that'd be all about. They were diving for the ball, Terry, and
I tell you what, that's a loose ball, and kids are going to come in hard. And I don't understand how you make that call on a free ball like that.
Well, the Derby fans don't certainly agree with it, but the ball popped loose. Daniels went down to recover it, and he barely recovered it, but 3 Panthers hit him about the same time, and that's about the extent of that play. However, they moved it 15 yards, and that gives the Lions a lot better field position at their own 35-yard line, where they'll put it in play 1st and 10. Karr's back in the ball game, so evidently he wasn't shaken up too bad. Ward hands off to him, and he's hit after he gets across the line of scrimmage. He stood up pretty good that time.
He's gonna pick up about 3 yards. Malik came in. He got hit by some defensive linemen. Malik came in from the secondary and stuck him pretty good. But there again, he picks up 2 or 3 hard yards.
You know, the other thing I noticed about the Lawrence backs, which surprises me on the yardage they get, is they basically run straight up and down. They're not bent over very much when they hit that line of scrimmage.
Well, it's a lot like we saw last week with Goolsby. He ran into the line pretty much straight up and down. Didn't really put his head down and punish anybody.
Lawrence shifts the slot, handoff to Karr again, right at the right side through their power. He's going to pick up about 4 more yards.
Lawrence really isn't doing anything fancy. They're setting up a strong side and running behind it, and again, just challenging just to stop their strength before they change to go do anything else.
3rd and 2, ball at the 43-yard line of the Lions. Now they're going to call a timeout. They had a little trouble getting the play in and getting a call. They got up to the line of scrimmage. Not sure they liked or understood what the play was, so they'll call a timeout rather than take a 5-yard penalty.
They might have thought that they were real close to not getting the play off in time. So this situation, they have a very, very makeable 3rd and 2, but 3rd and 7 puts them in a passing situation. I'm sure they'd like to avoid that at all costs if they can.
I think the thing the Panthers are going to have to do in the second half, Terry, and they did it successfully to start the ball game, was throw underneath that coverage. It seemed, as we look back at the stats and think back on that first half, the receivers coming back down under the coverage, and they were fairly wide open.
Well, they threw under the coverage, but everything was to the outside, and I think Lawrence has made some adjustments, and they're giving the middle of the field under the coverage now. And look for Josh Riedel to catch a pass in the second half for a big gainer.
Well, I would think that Josh coming out of the tight end position over the middle, or Werman coming out of the fullback slot out in the flat also usually is open, and that's kind of a play-action rollout pass.
We had some success early in the season running Jared Foster down the middle of the field for some long plays, and of course Jared has been out most of the second half of the season with some hamstring injuries, but it's good to see him back, and he's in on some passing plays, and just gives Derby a little more depth at the receiving position.
Big 3rd down for the Lions, 3rd and 2, ball at their own 43-yard line. Panthers switch the defense. 5 down lineman, handoff to the fullback this time, Enneking, and he gets out across the 45, close to the 48, 49-yard line. They're going to spot it, so about 5 yards on the carry.
That's power of football. Just line up and come at you, and the lead blocker on that carry was number 22, Karr, the tailback. So the backfield for Lawrence does a good job of helping each other and making each other successful.
Hand off to Karr straight ahead. He stood up again, runs straight up and down, but still gets good yardage. He's going to pick up close to 5. We'll call it 4. Draney and Relander on the tackle. Seems like when they shift their slot back, they seem to run at the power every time, Terry, and just put that slot back up there as a quick lead blocker.
Well, they try to spread you out on this side of the ball with the slot and it's worked so far.
There they shift him again, and a handoff to the fullback, Enneking, and this time he's hit right at the line of scrimmage, but again they ran at the power.
Well, they ran right at Josh Riedel, and he just gets rid of his man and fills the gap and makes a hit right at the line of scrimmage, or just maybe a yard beyond the line of scrimmage.
We'll give him a yard on the carry. Call it 3rd and 5 now. Make it, it'll be a short 5, long 4. Ball just short of the 45-yard line of the Panthers. Now they shift back to the right, and again they run the option to the right. He tries to hand it off. The quarterback, Ward, really is tentative about that handoff and rides that fullback into the line at the last possible moment, which almost you'd think would make it easier to defense, but he still picks up about 2 yards on the play.
Well, that's going to bring up 4th and maybe a yard and a half for the Lions. They were unsuccessful in this situation late in the second quarter, and they're going to go for it. They're not playing for field position. Not going to try to put Derby back in Derby territory. They don't mind giving the ball out here midfield.
Panthers having a little trouble getting adjusted. Now they're going to come with the shift, and they run at the power again. The quarterback, Ward, keeps it. He faked the handoff, and he didn't make it, Terry.
He didn't make it.
I believe if he'd have given it to his fullback, they might have handed it, but he pulled it out and is going to be thrown for a loss.
I agree. I think the fullback had the yard and a half or 2 yards he needed, and he pulled it out and kept it. And that's a big play, and the Panthers are going to take over at their own 44-yard line with excellent field position, the wind behind them, and just a great opportunity for the Panthers.
I'll tell you what, Riedel and Draney and the linebackers, Werman and that, are just doing an outstanding job defensively of stuffing those option plays. Panthers have it 1st and 10. They put 2 wide receivers out. 3. Now the handoff to Malik, cuts back inside. He was the lone setback. He'll pick up about 3 on the play.
And what they're trying to do is Lawrence has been doubling on the wide people, and it looks like Derby maybe is going to try to spread them out a little bit and pull their defensive secondary to the outside and try to find some running room for Malik off tackle.
Foster goes out. Werman comes back in now at fullback. Malik the eye back. Nate Phillips to the near side. Corey Gurley to the far side at the wideouts. 2nd and 6. Handoff to Malik, straight ahead, big hole for Tyson. Cuts back inside, down inside the 45 to about the 44, 43. So a nice cutback by Tyson on that play, Terry.
He did a good job of following his block up in the middle and then cutting back against the grain, and real close to springing that one for a big gain. He does pick up the first down. Derby has moved into Lawrence territory with 4:34 to go in the third quarter.
Gurley goes to the far side. Tyler Malik comes to the near side. Panthers stay in the eye. Handoff straight ahead to Tyson Malik, and that's real tough going on that play. He may have got back to the line of scrimmage at best.
Yeah, they may give him half a yard on the carry, maybe a yard on the carry, and that was tough going right in the middle of the line.
And Lawrence defensive line is not a big line that the Derby's traditionally faced this year. I think they average about 205, but very agile and very physical.
But Derby knows that Lawrence builds their defense on quickness and lateral pursuit, and this team fits the mold that Lawrence has had in the past. Maybe not as big as the championship teams that they've had in the past, but just as aggressive and just as quick. Both teams are playing excellent, sound, fundamental football today, and just very few mistakes.
I don't believe, Terry, 51 Reg Harrison is not in on defense, and that has been one of the key mainstays to the defense of Lawrence. 2nd and 10. Galbraith drops back, throws out in the flat, complete to Gurley, but he's hit right away. Picks up about 7 on the play.
Well, that was fortunate that Corey made that play, and that ball just kind of floated out there a little bit, Ron, and that's dangerous out in the flats. That pass is there, but we're going to have to get some more zip on it, or we could have a white shirt carrying it the opposite direction.
Again, he was open. Tyler Malik comes in at a wide receiver now. He goes to the far side. Gurley stays in and comes to the near side.
Reg Harrison is in there at nose tackle.
3rd down, we'll call it a long 3, short 3. Galbraith options, pitches to Malik at the last minute.
Touchdown.
He's clear, and now he's going to score. Berry kept the ball, waited to the last minute to pitch the ball. They almost gave up on the pitch, and Tyson come out of the pitch position, took it in full stride, one man to beat, and he goes in from about 36 yards out for 6 points. Nice run, nice play by the Panthers.
Well, they were with 3rd and short 2. The defensive line was pinching down, and the linebackers were down. And when they pinched down, Barry read it, and he went to the outside, just perfect timing. And Malik goes down the sideline without being touched.
You know, the thing that looked good about that play, Terry, was Barry was coming out. The defense had penetrated. He stepped back almost as he was going, which caused those defensive ends to penetrate even more, and opened up the pitch to Tyson, and that was just a smart move by Barry.
Well, I didn't think that went through, but they called it good.
Well, it did. I didn't either. I thought that was
looked like a line drive that got about 4 feet off the ground from up here.
No offense to Chris, but that was a bullet.
Yeah, it wasn't pretty, but still counted 1 point.
I guess they gave it back for the first half field goal attempt that went wide. It looked a lot better than that one did.
Derby's taking a big 14-0 lead with 2:58 to go in the third quarter, Ron, and now they're really going to hang it on the shoulders of the defense from here on in. Offense has put some points on the board for them, and defense has played well, and Lawrence is getting to the situation where they're going to have to open up their offense just a little bit.
Well, the thing that Coach Purdy has been good at doing this year, and of course the last 2 playoff games in the state, Lawrence has trailed going into the fourth quarter and managed to come behind, so I'm sure we're not going to count him out. as I said, and we mentioned earlier, they go to the pass only when they have to, and so far today, the pass has been an asset to them. The Panthers are going to have to be aware of that when Ward drops back, and from the looks of the couple of passes he can throw the ball.
He's got a good arm if you give him time to set up. The thing that you have to do is make him find the secondary receiver. Don't let him go to his primary receiver. And the way you do that is you put some double coverage on him, and I think that will give him enough trouble that he'll have a difficult time.
Panthers are going to lose the wind here shortly. It doesn't seem to have been much of a factor in the ball game so far, but DeVore's kick is a high kick deep. It's going to send Karr into the end zone. He can't come out. He's gonna, but he can't. So nice kick by Chris that time. Karr fields it about 4 yards deep in the end zone, so the ball will come out to the 20-yard line.
Chris got his foot in that, and Lawrence is going to start out at the worst field position they've started after a kick. They've been getting the ball out between the 25 and 30-yard line on kick return, so this has them back starting at their own 20-yard line.
They started back there one other time on the missed field goal when it came out to the 20 and managed to drive a fair distance before the Panthers took over. 1st and 10 Lions on their own 20. They stay tight. And again, they run away from the power this time. Give it to Karr, and he is hit right at the line of scrimmage.
Well, that was a little misdirection play, and it didn't fool anybody. Panthers stayed at home. Ross Graney over at his left tackle position stayed at home, and they came right at him, and he and Aaron Robbins were there to make the stop for no gain.
Good defensive play that time by the left side of that Panther line. The secondary came up hard, and Karr traditionally had picked up yardage on that the first half, and that time nothing. 2nd and 10, ball at the 20.
Now we've got an official timeout while Karr takes care of his shoe, and he's going to come off the field, and they'll send somebody. They're going to wind the clock, so they've got to send somebody in to take his place on this play at least.
Probably we'll see Pope go in, and no? Well, yes, no.
Greg Erb, 45.
Erb goes in. He's traditionally listed as a wide receiver, and he'll line up in the slot.
They do some shuffling with their slot man.
Hand off to the now they pitch it, fumble. I think Panthers got it.
Derby's got it.
Pitch back that time to Erb coming out of the wingback slot. The pitch was behind him, fell down. I think I'm not sure who fell on it. If it was Robbins or Glazier.
I think it was Ross or. Josh Riedel, I think 87 made the pickup for the Panthers.
Well, this is a big break, big turnover for the Lions, and the Panthers are going to have it inside the 20 at the 16-yard line of the Lions, 1st and 10. So excellent opportunity to come away with some points.
We've played almost 3 quarters of football, and I think that's the first turnover we've had in the ball game. So it has been pretty much an error-free, penalty-free ball game.
Panthers send Tyler Malik wide right, Gorley wide to the left, pitch to Malik on the right side. He's got the corner, goes outside. Nice tackle by Erb after he made that fumble. So other than him making that tackle, Tyson might have been in for 6.
Great lateral pursuit by Erb that time, because it looked like Malik was going to get the corner and have some big yards. He picked up another good block by Shelby Werman out in the flats that kicked his man out, and Malik cut off of it and looked like he was going to go for 8 or 10 yards, if not for 6 points.
Ball at the 13-yard line. We'll call it 2nd down, 7. Panthers with a slot to the right. They put Foster in the slot. Galbraith runs the option, cuts back inside. I don't know if he got back to the line of scrimmage.
That was the one time that Barry should have been pitching quick, because Tyson had a blocker out in front of him. Josh Austin moved out and was in front of him, and there wasn't a defensive man out there, so he had some running room if Barry could have got the ball out to him.
This would be a good time to see that pass play to the fullback coming out of the backfield. Panthers are going to call timeout and talk it over with 3rd and 7. Ball at the 13.
I'll tell you, another play would be a big play right here, or a possible call right here, and that's to Josh Riedel over the middle, because they're going to cover the wide people, and they're going to try to defense the flats. And Josh has enough quickness that he can come up and get behind the linebackers.
Down linemen are going to have to remember, you're certainly going to see those defensive down linemen coming hard this time because it's an obvious passing down for the Panthers.
They're involved in the pass rush.
This is kind of one of those situations where you go out, Terry, and you've been a coach before. You probably go in the huddle and tell them to dig down deep inside and find whatever is necessary to pick up those yardages to get that first down. And I'm sure Coach Purdy's telling his defensive chargers the same thing. Right. 3rd and 7. Galbraith drops back straight, throws a pattern deep. I believe it's intercepted. Touchdown.
They call it a touchdown. It looked like it was going to be interception, but they call it a touchdown with Corey Gorley in the end zone.
I'm going to watch the replay, Terry. He did. He had it.
That was
excellent call.
Both of them come down with the football in that situation. The offensive man gets possession, so it was the right call and just excellent concentration on Corey Gorley's part because there wasn't much room. Nice pass by Barry Galbraith.
That was just a very, very good call by the official because you're right. They came down with it, but Gorley came down with it, and the defender flipped it out at the last minute. I kind of thought it was an interception, but looking at the end, we were lucky to have instant. I'm so excited I can't speak. We've got instant replay up here in the booth, and he came down with it in the end zone.
Lawrence definitely disagrees with the call, and they're talking to the officials right now, but the call's been made, and it feels good. Lawrence is going to come out with all their guns, but if you remember going back to last year, I think Lawrence got a good call on a touchdown that took a touchdown away from Derby that made a difference in the ball game, and so maybe it's payback time. That was an excellent call, excellent pass. That pass had to be perfect, and excellent concentration by Corey Gorley, bringing the ball down and hanging on to it and fighting for his share of the ball.
Well, you're right. Last year in the playoff game, Jason Young was blown dead at the 5, and no way did he go down, and Derby came away with only 3 points, but he went into the end zone standing up, just an inadvertent whistle on the official's part, so you can call it tit for tat, but looking at the replay again, as we looked at it originally, we thought it was an interception. Looking at the replay, Gurley definitely came down with it for the 6. Panthers up 21-0, 33 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter.
Tell you what, that was a big turnover, and what makes it big was Derby was able to capitalize on it, and Lawrence is getting down to where they're only going to have 1 quarter now to fight back to get back in the ball game, and the Derby defense has done a tremendous job stopping them up to this point.
Well, they'll have the wind at their back here shortly, and I'm sure we're going to see Ward put it in the air a few times, and I'm sure we're going to see Karr coming out of the backfield, and they'll be throwing to him. DeVore's kick is fielded at the 8.
Clip right there.
The official finally saw it. There was a clip, obviously, and the official saw it.
He ran 10 yards with his hand on his flag. I wasn't sure whether he was going to throw it or not, but if he didn't throw it, he sure must have had his eyes closed. It was an obviously clip on Troy Glazer coming down on the outside on their side of the field.
That'll be should be half the distance to the goal, Terry, from the infraction. Clip looked like it was at about the. I'm going to say the 20, maybe. I thought it was inside the 20.
That's pretty close to where it was at, so it should move the ball down to about the 10-yard line.
Well, that's where they're going to mark it. Back end of the ball is just on the 10-yard line, so the Panthers have got them deep in a hole here, and a defensive stand would just be almost a backbreaker for Lawrence.
Well, Lawrence has 21 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter before they get a flip-flop and get the wind behind them. So,
Ward hands off straight ahead to his fullback, Attic, and he's stacked up after maybe a couple yards. I think the key here is for everybody to keep their composure. The Lions certainly been in this thing 9-10 years in a row, and they've won 5 state championships in a row. It's tough to lose one, but it's got to happen sometime, and we thought it was last year, but of course this ball game is not over.
Well, Derby's got a 21-0 lead going into the 4th quarter, and you know, as well as they've played, we just hope that the clock works with us and that thing keeps moving as fast as it can, because against Lawrence, you never feel comfortable till the last seconds off the clock. I think one thing we've got to talk about, Ron, through the playoffs, Derby has played 11 quarters now in the state playoffs and have yet to give up a point. And that's tremendous, because they have faced some good ball teams. They faced Northwest, which is the City League champion, and shut them out. They faced a Dodge City team that many people felt like was the best team in the state going into the state playoffs, and shut them out. And today they're facing the Lawrence Lions, who in the preseason polls and early season started off at #1 in a lot of teams' polls, and their only blemish coming the second week of the season, and then they fought back and have been undefeated since then. So they've played 3 very good football teams and have shut all 3 of them out through 11 quarters of football.
Well, in the Dodge City game also, Dodge City was averaging 40 points a game coming into that Derby game, Terry. So you're right, this defense is just played outstanding. But if you look back over the last 5 years, Derby's rushing defense has just about shut everybody down. Lawrence will have it second and we'll call it about 7. Ball at their own 14-yard line, as we get ready to start the 4th and final quarter of this 6A state championship game. Ward options, hands off to his fullback, Attic, and he's hit about the line of scrimmage, fights forward for a couple. We'll see where they spot it finally. It's across the 15.
Bill Shaw, the defensive coordinator, went out during the timeout and talked to his defensive troops between quarters, and I'm sure got them fired up. And one thing I'm sure he told them was when Lawrence comes out of the huddle, find number 22, find Karr, know where he's at all the time, and let's get some people on him wherever he goes.
3rd and 3, big down for the Lions. Panther defense has risen twice now on 3rd and short. Handoff to the fullback, and he's not going to make it. He's stacked up short of the 20. He needed to get to about the 20.5-yard line, but they're going to mark it.
He's going to be about a yard short, Ron. He's going to bring up 4th down for Lions. And I tell you what, trailing 21-0 in the 4th quarter, Purdy's got a decision to make. You don't want to. You need all your possessions, but you can't afford to turn the ball over to Derby down this deep in your own territory.
Well, he's going to go for it, Terry. He sends Ryan Goodwin in, the wide receiver, number 17. It'll be interesting to see where he comes to the near side. They don't put. They may go on a long count, Terry. Nope. They hand off to the and he gets it. They just did power football that time, Terry. Handed off to Karr and said, "By God, stop us," and it didn't happen.
Well, Derby stopped them the previous 2 times when they had 4th and less than a yard. So defense has done a good job. They're as good as football team as Lawrence is. You're not going to stop them on 4th and 1 every time. But I think that's going to set the tone for the rest of this ball game. Purdy's not going to hold anything back. He's got the clock working against him right now, and he's trailing 21-0, and he's got to pull all the stops out right now.
Well, Lawrence is going to have to put the ball in the air. They can't, with about 10 minutes to go in the ball game, they just can't keep grinding it out. Here comes a little misdirection. Big hole on the left side, but fills up quick. Ross Draney there to plug it.
Again, misdirection coming out of the backfield, and Derby's quickness there to stop him for a 2 or 3 yard gain, and Derby will give up 2 or 3 yards on a run and play right now. They're setting on a lead, and they want Lawrence to run the football, and they're willing to give them 2 or 3 yards on a rushing play, and as long as the clock keeps moving.
Last year's 27-23 comeback victory by the Lions was the biggest margin of comeback in the history of the 6A playoffs, and this certainly would be even worse, being down 21 points in the 4th quarter, under 10 minutes to go now. Well, now they
had Derby got pulled off.
Chesty got pulled off into the neutral zone. I'm not sure if that's going to be an offensive procedure or defense.
I think it's going to go against the defense. It's unfortunate because Derby had him second and long, and it's going to make second and short, and that gives Lawrence a lot more options on what they can do as far as offensively. They don't have to put the ball in the air in this situation.
Lions will now have it second and short. We'll call it second and a long 2. Ward looks out to throw. Ball tipped up by Tyson Malik right at the line of scrimmage, Jerry. Good heads-up play by Tyson that time.
Tyson just moving out from his corner position, taking the passing lane away, and looked up just at the right time to reach up and get a hand on it and break it up.
Tyson would have tipped that up just a little higher. He might have been able to intercept it, and that would have been 6. 3rd down 3. Ball on just across the 30, about the 31 of Lawrence. Lions bring Goodwin to the near side. They stay with tight formation. Ward rolls out. This time he's being pressured, pitches back to Karr. Karr gets the yardage. He drives across the 40-45 yard line, about the 46 before he's brought down. So Panthers didn't defense that one quite as well, Terry.
Well, that's some of the quickness that I think we expected to see a little more of in the first half that we didn't see. Derby has done a good job up to this point of defense and the option. At that time, Lawrence was able to get it outside and get Karr going down the sideline.
Panthers have an injured player down on the field. I can't tell who it is right now. Try to pick up the number for you. Shelby Werman, the fullback.
Shelby's one of the many Panthers that go both ways, and you hate to see this late in the ball game. 8:49 to go in the ball game, and Shelby's played hard on both ends of the ball today.
Doesn't appear to be any leg injuries at this time. He may just have had the wind knocked out of him. The coaches are out there talking to him. Looks like he's indicating his chest or his ribs. They might have got hit. Now he's being helped up, so he's going to come off on his own power. Might have just got the wind knocked out of him, Terry. That's good to see him walking off. Just the fact that he's not hurt seriously, but also the Panthers need him.
Yeah, he's trotting off the field. I'm sure he probably just took one in the breadbasket and was gasping for air for a second. As tough as Shelby is, he'll be back in the ball game at first opportunity.
1st and 10 Lions at their own 46-yard line. Ward drops back. They're going to throw again. Little screen pass out to Karr. He breaks one tackle. Now he's being held up, and he'll short gain, but Ward didn't have a lot of time to get that pass off. He did, but Karr was set over here on the near side in the screen, and
well, that play's designed not to have much time to throw it because the offensive line is going to let their people leak through it, and they're going to float over in the flat to block for the tailback. And Derby did a good job of reacting to it and holding it just for a 4-yard or 3-yard gain.
We'll call it 2nd and 7. They send Goodwin to the far side. Ward's going to throw again, drops back, throws out in the flat. Pass is tipped up by Glazier at the last minute. He had, we'll try to get the number, I think it was 45, Greg Erb coming down the sideline.
Troy Glazier did a good job at back there of playing center field and stepping in front of the receiver and breaking the pass up. Ross Draney from his defensive down position came in almost untouched and put a big hit on Ward, and I'm sure Ward is feeling that hit. Ross had a good full-speed run coming right at him.
Big 3rd down for the Lions. 3rd and will stay 7. Ball at the 49-yard line of Lawrence. Little misdirection play to Karr, and again he's hit. He'll still pick up a couple on the play, but almost looked like there was a mix-up in the backfield.
Shelby Werman back in the ball game, and he comes up to make the play, and Tyler Malik comes in and helps on the tackle. Karr gets up a little slow and limping a little bit. He's taking some punishment out there this second half. It's going to put the Lions in 4th and 4 position. So it's a big play with 7:28 to go in the ball game.
This will probably be the biggest down of the ball game for both teams, Terry. Certainly for Lawrence. This late in the ball game, 7:20, fourth down, a long 4. Ward rolls right, looks downfield. He might keep it. Pitches to Karr. Karr is hit, and he's still going to get the first down. It's just a tremendous effort by the tailback, John Karr. A little shovel pass. He was hit as soon as he caught it and breaks the tackle.
He does a good job, and he floats over there and he looks like a blocking back, and nobody really looks for him to be in the a receiver because of the way he's floating out there. Derby had defense well. They just didn't make the tackle. They had him hit and stopped short of a first down, but just tremendous second effort by Karr. And he's a tough kid for no bigger than he is.
I'm very impressed with the running backs of Lawrence. Karr is out in the wide receiver. They're going to throw to him. He's wide open, and he's going to catch it. Nobody even near him. Unfortunately, there's a flag down on the field. I'm not sure what it's going to be.
It's against Lawrence.
It's got to be against Lawrence for holding. Karr is coming down the field. He winds up in a wide receiver to the near side. Again, nobody even near him. Streaks down the field. Ward hit him in full stride.
He runs it down and out, and when he cuts out to the flat, he just turns up the field, and he was way behind the secondary. Not a lot unlike what we saw last year, Ron. Lawrence now is getting the penalty piled on. They've got 15 yards for holding, and then they've got another 15 yards for unsportsmanlike conduct. So the ball is going to be moved back. It's been moved back 15 yards, and it's going to be moved back another 15 yards with 6:42 to go in the ball game. Lawrence, big disappointment. I felt like they'd finally got on the board, and instead of being on the board, they're going to find themselves pushed way back deep in their own territory.
Well, certainly you hate to see any unsportsmanlike conducts, especially dead ball foul type thing against the officials, and that's what that foul is basically for. This late in the ball game, of course, when you're down 21-0 and you're the 5-time defending champion, you don't want to get dethroned, let alone shut out, and to have a touchdown called back, why, certainly it's very frustrating, but hopefully cooler heads will prevail, and Coach Purdy will be able to maintain his team in the composure as the balance of the game is played out. 6:42 to go in the ball game. Panthers on top, 21-0. It's first down and just a huge amount, about 40 yards. Ward drops back, hands off to Karr, and he's hit by Shelby Werman for a loss of about 3 more on the play. So now I'm sure we're going to see Lawrence try things that they haven't tried all year, and basically they probably know they've lost the ball game, but they want to get on the scoreboard.
They're setting back at 2nd and 41, and Derby defense really has to loosen up with the secondary and turn that defensive line loose and let them come hard, and the secondary just needs to make sure that we can give up 10, 15, 20, 25 yards and still have them in a 3rd and long situation. They just don't want to let anybody get behind them at this point.
Some unofficial stats here going. Well, we'll give them. No, we'll go ahead without them. They've had a timeout. 2nd and a huge amount. Ward rolls back, looks downfield, throws out in the flat. He really hangs it up when he throws it. Almost a super catch. Incomplete. Ward can throw the ball a long ways, but he can't get that front end of the nose to turn down. It hangs up on him, and it floats out there on him.
Well, that's a difficult pass, throwing that deep out in the flat, and Derby secondary's got a lot of time to react to that ball and can come in and break it up or hopefully make an interception. It's going to bring up 3rd and 41 for Lawrence, sitting at their own 29-yard line.
Key for the Panthers is certainly not to get any major penalties, pass interference, or anything of that nature.
This is a situation.
He's not going to get the play off. Well, he did. Now he's being pressured. I believe it's Riedel. No, Dranian on the tackle. And Ward just didn't have any time at all to set up. He's thrown for another huge loss and probably going to make it 4th and 50.
Ross Drainey's playing a tough ball game today. He had an excellent ball game last week against Dodge City, and he's picked up today where he left off last week, and he moves them back to where they're going to be 4th and almost 50 yards to go.
Well, the Panther fans can sense it with 5:30 to go in the ball game. They've got a state championship. Punts off. Malik's going to let it bounce. It's going to bounce, keep taking the Lawrence bounce, roll inside the 35, down across to about the 29-yard line of Derby, where it's going to roll dead, and Derby will put it in play there. But they know with 5 minutes and 20 seconds to go in the ball game that they've got the title.
Well, you know, Ron, they have to feel comfortable with 5:20 to go in the ball game with a 21-point lead, and hopefully the offense will go out there and pick up 1 or 2 first downs and eat all the clock up, if not most of it. But you know, I don't think this team will be satisfied till they get the shutout. They love to convince people that they've got an excellent defense, and the way you do that is to shut them out. And I think you'd have to go back a long time before you found a state championship team that went through the playoffs, not giving up a point during the whole playoffs.
Pitch back to Malik. He's going to be thrown for well, he breaks a tackle, still on his feet. He gets back to the line of scrimmage before he's brought down.
He lost a shoe, and that was back about the 27-yard line. That's all the defensive guy got was his shoe. Good second effort by Tyson.
He was hit in the backfield, and as you say, gets forward. I think the key here is for the Panther runners to hang on to that football, because Lawrence is going to have to try and strip it.
Well, what Tyson should have done is pick the shoe up and run off the field and let the clock run. They're going to start back up now. They got a shoe on. The clock is Derby's friend, and they need to use as much of it up as they can in this situation.
We'll give them 2 on the carry. 2nd and 8. Ball at the 32-yard line of Derby. 2 wideouts for the Panthers. They stay in the eye with Werman and Malik, the setbacks. Hand off to Malik straight ahead, hit right at the line of scrimmage, and no gain on the play. Bring up 3rd down and 8.
Well, Lawrence is coming hard. They know that Derby wants to eat the clock up, and they don't feel like Derby's going to put the ball in the air, so they're coming hard with everybody except for a single coverage on the wide people, and they're wanting to stop Derby here and make them turn the ball over, and they don't look for Derby to pass the ball in this situation.
Hand off to Malik again. Just tremendous penetration by the right side of that Lawrence line. I'm not sure why they couldn't get that kind of penetration earlier in the ball game, but
well, they're not expecting respecting the pass at all. They're just coming hard with 8-9 people, and it's hard for the offensive line to do anything in that situation. Derby's going to punt the ball back to Lawrence. I'm sure Lawrence will be coming hard, trying to make something happen and get a block. They're going to take over pretty good field position, but with under 3 minutes to go in the game.
Shelby Werman will stand at his own 16. Low snap. Shelby picks it up. Gets off a good kick. High spiral. Going to be fielded at about the 28. Not sure who was bringing the ball back. We'll try to get the number. Number 25. Again, that's Daniels, who fumbled earlier in the ball game, and they faked the reverse on that, and Derby didn't fall for it. So Panthers got about 68 yards to go, or the Lions have about 68 yards to go.
Well, they've got 2:46 to go in the ball game, and like I say, the outcome of the ball game has been decided. And right now, the Derby defense is playing for pride.
New quarterback in the ball game, and he's going to be creamed. Number 12, J.D. Lautebarger, is in a 5'9", 150-pound junior, and he is just leveled.
Justin Williams comes in from his down line position and puts a big hit on him and throws him for about a 7-8 yard loss. Going to bring up 2nd and long for the Lions with just over 2 minutes to go in the ball game.
Panther fans are on their feet cheering their defense and the whole team. To go through the playoffs and shut out all 3 teams would just be outstanding. And as you say, Terry, that's what they're playing for now. Second and about 18. Ottebarger drops back, throws deep, got a man open. Pass is complete. Nice reception by 17, Ryan Goodwin, out in the flat.
Nice coverage by Troy Glazer out there, and they're going to give him 7 to 8 yards and let him make the reception because that keeps the clock running. And we're down to a minute and a half to go in the ball game, and Lawrence is still 60 yards away from getting the goose egg off the scoreboard. I'm not sure they're going to get this play off in time.
Yeah, they've got 13 seconds to go on the play clock. Run the option, almost had the option taken away. Karr is going to be brought down from behind. Shelby Werman comes up from the linebacker position, and a good pursuit by Shelby. Throws him for a loss.
Shelby does a good job, and Karr's slow getting it up again. He's not a big kid, but he's played hard today, and he's been punished. Lawrence takes a timeout with 47 seconds to go in the ball game, and they want to talk about it. They definitely don't want to be shut out here in the state championship ball game, but Derby has manhandled them up to this point, and they have different ideas.
Well, it's been an exciting ball game, Terry. Both teams kind of seesawed back and forth. Good defensive posture in the first half, and then the Panthers just kind of took total control of it going into the second half. A key turnover, of course, deep in Lawrence territory, and then what appeared to be a questionable touchdown on instant replay showed that was definitely a completion and a touchdown for the Panthers. But nevertheless, 47 seconds to go in the 6A state title game. Panthers on top, 21-0, and they're going to take it back to Derby, state champions for the first time in the history of the school.
Well, I tell you what, these kids have worked hard. The coaching staff has worked hard, and they wanted to get back after last year. They got a taste of it last year, and they wanted to get back and get another shot at it. And they are, and I tell you what, they're not letting up.
Waterback is sacked on 4th and 8, and that's it.
Big Josh Riedel making a big play, and I tell you what, Josh is probably going out of the ball game, and that's a heck of a way to end your high school career, is going in there and putting a big hit on the quarterback for a loss in the state championship ball game.
Panthers, 30 seconds to go in the ball game, take over on downs. Just a tremendous pressure by the Derby defense this second half on the Lawrence offense. Big pressure that time on Waterback, the quarterback, throwing for a big loss, and Panthers will have it, ball right at the 30-yard line of Lawrence, where they'll, I'm sure, Barry's just going to down the ball and run the clock out. This will be the last play of the ball game, I'm sure.
I'm not sure they even need to take the snap here.
Well, there's 11 seconds on the play clock, 15 on the game clock, and pretty good penetration by the Lawrence line that time. Of course, Derby's not doing anything except coming on the field. So Derby's going to take it home, 6A state champions, 21-0 over the Lawrence Lions. First defeat in 5 years.
Just as he does.
You want this, Brad? Do you want this stuff? Or?
Yeah, I'll go and take it up for him. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.